You're listening to In the Balance, an Iowa Judicial Branch podcast. Welcome back. This month we are highlighting an essential role in Iowa's judicial system, the court reporter. I spoke with Laura McFall, a court reporter out of District 8 and a past president of the Court Reporters Association, and Bob Gast, State Court Administrator, to discuss the duties of a court reporter and the integral role they play in the judicial system. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today, Laura. As a court reporter working in the 8th Judicial District, can you give us a brief description of what a court reporter is?
Sure. The court reporter is the person in the room that is charged with making a verbatim record of all of the court proceedings, which means we write every word that is said in the courtroom and make a record of that. We are certified to report at 225 words a minute. We use a stenographic shorthand machine as our method of making the record. So we write on our machine and we take a verbatim record of all court proceedings.
And what motivated you in particular to become a court reporter? What did your journey into this career look like?
Well, actually, my mom had two friends that were court reporters, and so she always encouraged me to look into court reporting. Interestingly, I always wanted to be a teacher, and that was what I had made up my mind to do. And so when I was in high school, my mom encouraged me to teach a CCD class at our church on Wednesday evenings, and I did that. And as fate would have it, it was the worst group of first graders ever. And that sealed the deal that I was not meant to be a teacher. And the other thing that sort of sealed the deal for me was that AIB, where the court reporting program was offered in Iowa, had apartment style living, and I didn't think I was cut out for the dorms either. So I went straight from high school to court reporting school and was out in 2 years.
Wow. Okay, so say someone walks into a courtroom. How would they identify who the court reporter is and what are they doing during the proceedings?
Well, generally, you're going to find the court reporter at the front of the courtroom, and we're usually facing towards the back of the courtroom so that we can have a visual of everyone in the room. We're going to be close to the judge and as close to the witness as possible. And depending on how the courtroom is set up, you're probably going to see our machine that grabs everyone's attention usually first. And we often generally have a laptop, and we'll be the person that kind of looks like we're just sitting there. If you can't see our hands moving and you can't have a visual of our machine, you might just wonder what we're actually doing if there's a desk covering us. But that's generally, you're going to find us right at the front right by the judge.
And can you go into a bit more detail about your duties and how your role directly impacts the court system here in Iowa?
Sure. Well, our first and foremost duty is to make that verbatim record of the court proceedings. That is what we are hired to do, and that is our first and foremost duty as the court reporter. A part of that duty is we are also in charge of maintaining the exhibits during trial and proceedings. And so we assist counsel with marking exhibits, and we have to keep track of what exhibits are admitted, what exhibits are not admitted. We have to, very importantly, make sure that all of the correct exhibits go back to the jury if it's a jury trial for their deliberation. And that's crucial. We don't want anything that was not admitted to go back to the jury, and anything that was admitted, we want to make sure that the jury gets. So the court reporter is very crucial in making sure that the correct exhibit record and evidentiary record is presented to the jury. Depending on our location, sometimes we help the judges prepare orders. And then also a crucial role of the court reporter is to then prepare transcripts of the proceedings on appeal for the appellate courts to review.
So while people may only see you as sitting there, there's actually quite a lot that's going on.
Yes, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't even realize. Yes.
And is it typical for a court reporter to be assigned to a specific judge, a courthouse, an area? Is there a lot of travel involved? How does that part of your job work?
Well, that again depends on your location within the state of Iowa. I work in the Judicial District, as you said earlier, and so we are a rural district. Ideally, we would be one-on-one with a judge, and that's generally how the trend used to be. With the shortage of court reporters that we're facing, we're not able to maintain that one-to-one standard at this point. So I work with pretty much all of the judges in my judicial district in my area. We do travel between courthouses. My sub-district is 10 counties. I generally and regularly hit about 5 to 6 of those counties. They try to keep us a little bit closer to our home, so we're not traveling quite so far and potentially passing other court reporters on the highway. I say that jokingly, but we literally sometimes will pass on the highway. So it just depends. In the more urban areas, they do go just straight to a courthouse. So it really just depends on your location in the state.
And what aspects of your job have been most rewarding for you?
The thing that I find most rewarding is getting to work with so many different people. I really, really enjoy working with the judges, the attorneys, law enforcement, DCI agents. We get to know through trial different people within the Division of Criminal Investigation. And when I say get to know, sometimes we develop relationships with the attorneys we work with a lot, especially in the rural district. We see a lot of the same people. But I also can pick out and recognize medical examiners, for instance, and DCI agents that you'll see on the news. I say, oh, I've had him or her in court before. So I always find that very fascinating. And I love to be behind the scenes. I think we all watch the criminal documentaries and we all watch Dateline and CSI and all of those things. And it's really fun to be an integral part of the process as a jury trial is happening. And to be behind the scenes and to get to see everything that we don't always get to see on TV. So I just really love to do that. And the other thing is you just never know what a jury is going to do. And so it's kind of just a lot of drama during a jury trial because there's generally something that happens that was not expected. So I find that just extremely fun and rewarding to be a part of that process.
Absolutely. And what are parts of your job that you did not expect when you began your career?
Well, I didn't expect to learn so much about so many different things. I kind of thought that court proceeding was a court proceeding was a court proceeding. And throughout my nearly 17 years, I guess now I've been reporting here in Iowa, I have just learned so much about so many different things through trial. We have civil trials and we have criminal trials that have different aspects of things that we just didn't know anything about. I've done trials on hog confinement, odor. And so you learn all about feed rations and you learn about fire hydrant stems. I had a case that was fire hydrant stems and there was a lot of chemical properties involved in that. And we have medical malpractice and we learn about how methamphetamine is made and all sorts of things that you just never thought you would encounter. And I guess the other thing that I really enjoy, but I did not expect was building the relationship with the judges that I work with. We really are a team and I appreciate that relationship. And we work very closely together and oftentimes for years at a time. And so those judges become just integral parts of our daily lives. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. I very much enjoy the relationships that we build with our judges.
And if someone listening to this is interested in becoming a court reporter, specifically here in Iowa, what schooling and steps do they need to take?
Sure. Well, the only school in Iowa that currently offers a court reporting program is DMAC at the Des Moines Area Community College in Newton. And they would have a website that has information about the program. Great news. There was just a program opened at the Blackhawk Community College, which is going to encompass your Eastern Iowa folks, in Moline, Illinois. And I know that that's an out-of-state college, but it's my understanding that they are providing in-state tuition for Iowa residents that are on the east side. So it's a program that just opened.
Wow.
But also our ICRA, the Iowa Court Reporters Association, has a website and a Facebook page. So if anyone is interested in court reporting, they can always reach out to us and find information on that as well. And they can find the names of court reporters. We have a mentor page. And so if they find any sort of name at all and reach out to us, then we can get them in line with the correct information that they would need.
Awesome. And lastly, if there is one takeaway about court reporting that you'd like our listeners to leave with today, what would it be?
Court reporting is an amazing profession. It provides so many opportunities. We are absolutely a growing profession. I know there's a lot of concerns about the technology that's coming up, but with the technology that we have as court reporters in our real time, we are not going anywhere. And so I would just encourage anybody that's interested at all in the legal field, if they're considering being a lawyer or a judge, to stop and really give court reporting also a consideration, because we can have some of those same dynamics and just kind of a different role in the judicial branch. And I also want to just say that it's not just female profession. It has trended that way in the last several decades, but we absolutely need and want male court reporters as well. So anybody that has a young high school student or young adult that's interested, and even a middle-aged adult that's interested, we have a spot for you, and we would love to have you.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. Bob, thanks for sitting down with me. This month's episode is focused on Iowa's court reporters. From your standpoint and from an administrative level, how does this role impact the court system in Iowa?
Court reporters are very important to the court system in Iowa. They're responsible for keeping the record of all court activity. And to keep that role is very vital. So if we have an appeals process that is to be valid, we have to have a good record of the proceeding.
And unfortunately, we are facing a shortage of court reporters in Iowa. What are some of the benefits of seeking a career in court reporting?
The first benefit I would say is that you're never going to do the same thing every day. You're going to meet a ton of new people every day. Right now, that is a very high demand job, which means there's a lot of job security. And it is a 2-year degree for those of you that want to pursue the degree. So it's a 2-year degree. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right now the average salary is $60,380.
Wow. All right. Some good benefits there. And if there's one message you'd like our current court reporters to take away from this episode who might be listening, what would it be?
We're listening to you, and together we will continue to improve your profession and keep it a vital part of the Iowa judicial branch.
Thank you so much, Bob. You've been listening to In the Balance, an Iowa Judicial Branch podcast hosted and produced by me, Marissa Gaal. If you would like more information about Iowa's courts, you can visit www.iowacourts.gov. You can also follow the Iowa Judicial Branch on Twitter and YouTube at Iowa Courts. This episode of In the Balance is now adjourned. Until next time.